I don't look like I used to, but when I was big, right? And I was lean and hard and bulging and everything else. I was lifting less than some skinny people that would go into the gym, and they'd be grunting and lifting these heavier weights than me, and I'd sit there and just laugh at them. Are they getting results? No. Bottom line is, you go to any gym and you watch these guys lifting the massive weights, and then you look at a guy that is actually big and look at the weights he's lifting less than them. The end of the story is, who's got the results?
So, so when you're training using this cell volumization technique, the blood pumping can only occur if you're constantly working at training that particular muscle, and the only way for that to happen is if you go over for extended sets.
You need more sets, more reps,
Yeah.
less weight, so you can actually achieve that.
Okay.
And you need to minimise the rest period in between sets.
I guess
You sit there and you get a pump, and then you sit there for 3 or 4 minutes, it's gone. You're not going to actually... And the other thing is as well, Arnold was telling the truth. All right, it is a good feeling. If you can maintain that pump for a half-hour session, 45-minute session, it is the best feeling. I honestly, without sounding like an idiot, it's honestly, it's as good as sex. If you can get a good pump session in a workout, it's as good as sex.
Alright. Okay, so I guess the takeaway from that then is, unless I'm feeling like what you just said, I should still be training in the gym until I get that experience.
You don't need to train in the gym to do this. One of my best training sessions, and the sorest I got, was actually at a kid's play set.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had to go and meet a girl. So I didn't have time to go to the gym. so I was at the gym and she wanted me to meet her at a park, and I knew I'd be there sooner than her, so I cut the workout short, went to the park and trained there.
Yeah, right.
The next couple of days I was sorer than I would have been if I'd continued training in the gym.
That's interesting.
Because you have to use different angles, you've got to use the body more, rely on your body to actually get the effect out of it rather than machines. When you sit on a machine in the gym, you're in a set position. It's actually it's position your body in a way that you can do that exercise, and only that exercise.
Okay.
If you've got something where you're not actually able to sit yourself in a certain way, you've got to do it yourself. You've got to achieve it yourself. You end up incorporating more muscles to achieve that position than you would if you were just sitting in an apparatus that places you like that.
Yep, sure. And I guess the reason why those machines kind of came about is in order to train like more for isolation purposes.
Yeah, exactly, isolation.
Whereas when you're training like in a park environment, you really have to use your own body weight to get the resistance.
And you've got
that
to
the
use
body
more,
needs.
you've got to incorporate and engage more muscles to be able to do that.
Yep.
For instance, this guy we're talking about, I don't know if you guys know, there's a video on YouTube of this guy in phenomenal condition. I've never seen anything like it. He's not massive, but he looks fantastic. I'd be happy to look like that. He's training in a park between parallel bars and monkey bars and things like that, and his entire body's off the ground. He's holding himself by his hands, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't tell if he works out in the gym, but I think he does that in the park.
I'd say so, because there's quite a few videos of him on the internet. For those of you who don't know, his name's Hannibal for King. So
I didn't know.
Yeah, his name's Hannibal for King. I don't really understand why he's called that, but that's his name. So if you go on YouTube and look him up, don't look him up now, watch this until it finishes. But yeah, definitely check him out, and,
Awesome,
and you'll
dude.
see why Andrew's so impressed by this guy, because it's not just his physique, it's just his raw strength and power as well.
And his ability to, and this is what we're talking about. If you train outside of the gym, you've got to incorporate other muscles, and you've got to do things to use core body strength, which you do not use in a gym. Most bodybuilders do not have core body strength.
Okay, that's interesting.
They might argue that, but I know they don't. I didn't. So yeah, core body strength will get you better abs and a better back and better strength overall.
Better health too, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It's interesting that you brought this whole training outside of the gym. I mean, I don't know if you know this about my challenge, but the real challenge behind getting, as huge and as lean as possible in 12 weeks is to also do it without using any supplements. So just sticking to the food, which is what you suggested.
Food, big thing, food.
And also to do it outside of the gym. So with that said, what would you recommend I do like outside of the gym in terms of exercising?
I'd still try and I think that you can honestly do pretty much every exercise that you can do in a gym, outside of a gym, without, even as far as doing bicep curls. You can do that in a playground. You don't have to have something that you're lifting and curling it. You can hang yourself upside down and use your body weight to curl your arms up and do that. I was doing that when I was working for a cane farmer recently on the side of my truck. I couldn't get to a gym, so I was just training on the side of the truck, on the bull bar and the side rails and things.
Yeah, right.
They all thought I was nuts, but I was getting an awesome pump and I was getting a good workout.
That's cool. All right.
So if you want, we can actually go over and talk about some things.
All right, so
I would say the same thing. Still volumizing training, so you're still doing the sets and reps. In fact, you'd have to do more so because you're only using your body weight. You can't go heavier.
Okay.
So you'd have to be doing a lot of sets and reps and just try and focus on the pump and still focus on working every single muscle. But you just have to do it in a different way, in a creative way.
But then, I mean, in you saying that, like what I've noticed in my experience from training outside of a gym is that if you can kind of put your body in certain angles, which would then give you the resistance that you need because it's making it a little more difficult for yourself. Like for example, a thing that I enjoy doing for training shoulders is doing like handstand push-ups.
They're awesome if you can do them.
Yeah, and depending on your angle,
yeah,
it gets a lot more
front
difficult.
delts, side delts, yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, like even though you are just limited to your body weight to an extent, there are always ways. I mean, like going back to that Hannibal for King guy, you know, I mean, if he did actually build that complete body purely off, you know, working outside of the gym, then, you know, if that's not proof, I don't know what is.
To be honest, no. We're going to use Hannibal as an example. That I've got no doubt you can achieve that outside of the gym without all the supplements and things.
Okay. Okay, so with what you were saying earlier about training outside of a gym, what I want to do during the challenge is the exact same thing. So what I'd like to do is to get, you know, like some of your ideas into how I can, you know, make the most of training outside of a gym. So if possible, could you show me some of your awesome exercises that you would do if you were to do the same thing as me?
Done.
All right, we're gonna go hit the playground. What are you doing? You're embarrassed. Yeah, it's like lifting up my skirt.